everybody. Good evening, Traverse City. How's everybody feeling tonight? Anybody who thinks that the process of reaching out to our neighbors and asking them to vote and exercise their democratic rights, anybody who thinks that can't be joyful ought to be in this room to see how we're lifting one another up. This is what politics ought to look like. So here we are, 3 more days before Election Day, depending how you count. It's down to the hours. An election that could decide the whole future of our country, and an election that could be decided by just a few votes per precinct right here in the state of Michigan. No pressure, but we got to get this done. Are you ready to make sure Michigan delivers for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? My name's Pete Buttigieg, and I stand before you as a father and a husband and a veteran and an American, and yes, a proud Michigander. I didn't move here because it happened to be the center of the political universe. I moved here because I fell for this certain son of Traverse City, a teacher that you just met, Chaston. Technically Grand, but we're saying Greater Traverse City. He changed my life, and we are so proud to be raising our son and our daughter in this great state, in this amazing community, and bringing them to their very first political rally, which they seem to be enjoying. This is a community that has been so great to us. It is a community of honest and hardworking people. People like my mom, who made the improbable decision that people not from around here don't get, of moving north in order to retire, who's here. People like Chasten's family, his mom and dad, and neighbors who remind us every day of why it's so important to have leaders with the right values and the right priorities. I'll tell you, the conversations that we've been having, whether it was on 6th Street trick-or-treating, everyone knows the candy they're giving out on 6th Street, right? Or whether it's in line at Moomers or any other places around here we spend time, our neighbors talk about the issues that are at stake in this election, whether they're talking about the election or not. They talk about housing, which reminds us why it's so important to elect somebody who has an actual plan, not a concept of a plan, but an actual plan for building more affordable housing. Our friends and our neighbors talk about the cost of raising kids and how much we care about their future, which is why we need a leader who's actually prepared to make child care more affordable, not Donald Trump's Project 2025 plan to abolish the Department of Education and use the money for tax cuts for billionaires. Our neighbors care about the basics, like safety, which is why they haven't forgotten that violent crime in this country went down after Donald Trump got beat and left office. And that a good way to send the right message about the rule of law in this country is to say no to the convicted criminal and yes to the prosecutor who put transnational criminals behind bars. And our neighbors are freedom-loving people, which is why they're not impressed with Donald Trump saying any American citizen who disagrees with him is the enemy. Freedom-loving people know that in a free country you get to say what you believe and stand up to bullies when that's what's required. And yes, in a freedom-loving country you get to be who you are and love who you love without somebody telling you otherwise. And our neighbors in northern Michigan know that in a freedom-loving country, a woman makes her own health care decisions, not some politician telling her what to do. In other words, every day, our neighbors remind us why the next president ought to be Kamala Harris. And if you want a reminder that she's somebody who has her priorities in the right place, look no further than her running mate, my friend, somebody who, just like us, makes his home along the 45th parallel, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Tim is the real deal. In a couple of minutes, I'll get out of the way so that you can see that for yourself. But I just want to share the thing I most appreciate about him, which is that his whole career he has lived out the most important thing anyone in public service ought to understand, which is that it's not about you. Think about what he's done with his career. A teacher, a non-commissioned officer in the National Guard for 24 years, a coach. What do all those jobs have in common? The measure of a great teacher is the performance of your students. The measure of a great sergeant is the readiness of your soldiers. The measure of a great coach is the success of your players. You live and work in order to make other people better off, and that's what he's been doing as governor, and that's what he's going to do as our next vice president of the United States. Folks, as you get out there knocking on doors, as you talk to that person, and every one of us has them, you can picture them right now in your family who we still haven't quite got through to. Maybe we haven't convinced them on how to vote. Maybe, just as important, we haven't quite convinced them on whether to vote. But think about why you're here. I know why I'm here. It's our family, right over there. It's the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning, be it at 6 in the morning if we're lucky, or 3 in the morning when one of them comes running into the room reporting their most recent nightmare. For our daughter, it's dinosaurs. Dinosaur got me, she'll say. And as a dad, I get to put my arm around her and say, no dinosaur is going to get you. Right? I'm batting 1,000 on that, right, P? No dinosaur is going to get you. And it feels really good as a parent to make a promise to your child that you're 100% sure is going to come true. With zero effort on your part, I might add. But of course, we're all here because of the promises we want to make to our kids that aren't going to happen with no effort. I want to be just as sure when I promise her that she's going to have more and not fewer rights than her grandmother did. I want to be just as sure when I promise them that they're going to inherit a climate and an environment that is as apt to sustain their well-being as the one that was handed to us. By the time they're old enough to get to middle school, that the only thing they got to worry about is middle school stuff like whose table to sit at and how to get through their classes and not whether they're going to be physically safe. And most of all, that by the time they're old enough to ask what I was doing, what Chasten was doing, what we were doing back in the 2020s, when it was all on the line, that we did what it took to secure their future by electing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, the next president and vice president of the United States. Thank you, Michigan. Thank you for coming out. Let's use every hour we have and get this done. Thank you.
Please welcome. Please welcome Michigan High School teacher librarian Genevieve Miner.
that I'm supposed to play this kind of cool, right? But this is awesome. This is so cool. Okay. Is this not a great night? I mean, seriously. My name is Genevieve Miner, and I'm the teacher librarian at Traverse City West Senior High School. I've been a proud member of the Traverse City community for over 20 years, and tonight I'm here to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Yeah. I was born and raised in East Detroit, Michigan. I started my teaching career in Utah as Miss Budden, where I lived for 10 years, returning to Michigan as Mrs. Miner in 2003. I was hired as a speech and language arts and English as a second language teacher at Traverse City West Senior High School, where I'm the teacher librarian now. Although many of the students there know me as Gus's mom. For those of you that don't know, Gus is the school's certified therapy dog. He hangs out with me in the library, and he is our family's lazy yellow lab. I'm a proud member of the Traverse City Education Association. Yep. And I serve on the Michigan Education Association Board of Directors. The stakes for this election could not be higher for our students and educators. Donald Trump's extreme agenda would gut resources for public education and leave our young people out to dry. It would slash billions in federal support for the nation's most vulnerable students and roll back nutrition programs. It even calls for eliminating the Department of Education. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, will invest in public schools. She will advocate for underserved students and make colleges affordable for everyone. Traverse City, doesn't that seem like an easy choice? Right? Kamala knows that good public education is the ticket to a better future in this country, and she has delivered results. As vice president, she helped forgive student debt for millions of borrowers, invested in community colleges, and secured the single largest investment in public education in American history. Yep. And in her running mate, she picked a public school teacher. Tim Walz has been a fierce advocate for public education. As governor, he's invested millions in higher ed, passing legislation that gives every public school student in Minnesota access to free breakfast and lunch. Now, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are fighting to strengthen public education as a pathway to the middle class. It's a cornerstone of their campaign. So in the next 4 days, I hope you will join the team and do whatever you can to send them to the White House on November 5th. For our students and teachers, the answer is clear. But don't just take my word for it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to bring to the stage a teacher, a former NEA member, and a lifelong Midwesterner, the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Tim Walz.
Wow. Well, hello, Traverse City. It's great to be with you. Well, I've got some thanks to give to some folks. Got your state representative, Betsy's around here somewhere. Where's she at? So we'll make sure we get it. Betsy Coffey, thank you, that. And as we came into town talking about what a beautiful city it is, thank you, Mayor Shamrow, for the work you're doing and for being here. I'll also mention, we know what the assignment is to get some folks elected. We need to make sure we get the Congress, too, and put the Democrats in charge of the House. So send Kelly Barr to Congress. And a thank you to your very own, to Chaston and Pete. They're a treasure to this country and the work that they do. I do not know where Pete finds time to do all he does, and everything he's done is done with excellence. I didn't think I could like that guy anymore, but tonight he just warmed the heart of a geography teacher when he talked about the 45th parallel. It's amazing. And to Genevieve and all my fellow teachers who are here tonight, I want to thank you for all the work you've done. You heard me use a line where I said, don't ever underestimate a public school teacher. They just get it done. And I saw a lady today say, well, it's taken us 250 years to get a public school teacher on the ticket. We're not losing this one. We're winning it. We're winning it. And Genevieve and I have something in common. She's Gus's mom. I'm Gus's dad. So I'm proud of that. So thank you all. Beautiful, beautiful Friday evening, and here you all are. Could have been anywhere else doing anything else, but you're not. You're not because you love America, and that's why you came. So thank you for that. I'm grateful. You know that old Tom Petty song, "The waiting is the hardest part." We're down to 4 days, people. Just to put this into perspective, I was looking at my watch. We're under 100 hours till polls close. Is where we're at. 100 hours. Yeah. I know what that kind of hits you in a way, because these next 100 hours and the work that we do now and what happens when those polls close are not just going to shape the next 4 years. They're going to shape the next few generations. And I think we know that. Now, it's hard to believe, but you see it. There's a few folks out there still haven't made up their mind. They're looking. But in all honesty, people are out there kind of shaking, and you hear this one a lot. I hear it when I'm from, relatives, friends, family, whoever it might be. Well, I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like his personality. And all of us are saying, really? You think? True. But then they do something that we need to set the record straight on. They say, yeah, but his economy was good. He took Barack Obama's economy. And then this is where people's minds get a little hazy. Here's what Donald Trump did with that economy. He lost 2.7 million jobs, 280,000 right in Michigan alone, drove up unemployment, botched the pandemic so badly that not to mention the tens of thousands of people who died unnecessarily, and he put neighbors into Hunger Games against each other just to find toilet paper. That's what he did. That's exactly what he did. So if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you might think back fondly because you got a tax cut. The rest of us got squat during that time. That's the way that worked out. Now, Donald Trump, and I heard Pete say this, he's right. Donald Trump's not spending any time thinking about how to make your life better. In fact, Trump is not spending any time thinking about you at all. So look, I get it. Folks are stressed about what's there. They know what's coming should that guy get another chance. They're worried about it. They get on the polar coaster. Oh, it's great. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's great. We've won and lost 50 times, during this time. But none of that matters. None of that matters. Because there's an antidote to all of this. Go out and vote for Kamala Harris. Go out and vote for Kamala Harris. It works. It works. I was with a mayor the other day in Racine, Wisconsin, and said, don't be wringing your hands. Go ring doorbells with your hands. Go knock on doors with that. Go make a difference. And look, that power of what we're going to get to do, we're going to get to turn the page on Donald Trump and create that new way forward that Kamala. Look, the facts matter. Under Kamala Harris's leadership, we've seen 400,000 more jobs created in the state of Michigan. Talking about a new way forward, you saw it, you witnessed it, the world saw it the other night as she stood in the ellipse on the National Mall with the White House behind her, the Washington Monument. You saw it. You saw what a president sounds like, a president's vision, and she made it very clear. She made a promise to all Americans that she would bring a to-do list to the White House, not an enemies list. She pledged to be the president for all Americans, and her first task that she said she would focus on every day from day one on is lowering the cost for middle-class families on the things that they need in their families. That's a priority every single day. When you talk to people, they tell you it's a concern of theirs. She has talked about and she will implement the first ever federal ban on price gouging. Now, quick primer on price gouging. I was with a farmer up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and we were talking about this, and he grows some corn. Hey, the Erie people are here. And I asked, he grows corn, potatoes, raised some cattle, but I said, so what are you getting for corn? He said, oh, about $4.10 a bushel. I said, oh. And I said, so when these folks tell you when food prices were cheaper, what were you getting for a bushel of corn? He said, oh, about $4.10. So if you look at that, he's making $4.10 no matter what the price of food was. Your prices are up after the pandemic. The only thing that really changed was historic corporate profits have gone through the roof. That's when we talk about price gouging. If you believe in a free market, you believe in a fair economy. We saw it again recently when the hurricanes hit. What a weird thing. They were telling people to fly out of Florida as quick as you could, and airline prices went through the roof. That's immoral. That's wrong. That's why 37 states have price gouging. Kamala Harris will put in a federal ban on price gouging to make it. Tax cuts and tax relief for the middle class, 100 million Americans will see a tax cut. No one making $400,000 or less will see their taxes go up, and we will target it at a $6,000 child tax credit to get kids off to a good start in the first year of their life. Makes a difference. Under Kamala Harris's leadership, we finally got for seniors a cap on insulin of $35 a month for the big deal. She's talking about extending that to every American because we saw this happen in Minnesota. There was a young man named Alex Smith. He aged off his parents' insurance. What he had to do, because he didn't have the money, he started rationing his insulin, and Alex Smith died. So his mom, Nicole Smith, came to the Capitol and said, I'll never let another family go through this. And in Minnesota, we passed $35 cap on insulin for everyone. That's how this is supposed to work. Now, give you my third example on price gouging. Before we did that, that $35 was costing up to $800. The real tragedy here is it costs $5 to make it, and people's lives depend upon it. The economy works best when it's fair, and in Minnesota we have a saying, we all do better when we all do better, and that's exactly what Kamala believes. A real plan to enhance lives, and some of the younger folks here, I know you're not going to think about this much, but for some of them my age and older, Medicare is a big deal. So I didn't know this. I turned 60 earlier this year. Now I spend a lot of my time thinking about Medicare. That's the way it works. But look, it's dignity in our life. It gives us a chance to live our lives with dignity and be in place. Kamala Harris has talked about enhancing Medicare, and one of the first things is allowing in-home care for our seniors so they can live in their homes. Big deal. Building Medicare services out to include glasses, vision, and hearing aids for our seniors. Big deal. Again, To the young people, I know what you're thinking. It's not a big deal. We got my mom a hearing aid here a few years ago. She's a lot more fun now that she can hear us. I'll just tell you that. And the idea of something that's so important to middle-class families, it's our true path to generational wealth and the thing that provides us security, making it easier to buy your first home with $25,000 down payment assistance. And focusing again, continuous, as you hear the theme here, focusing on the middle class, enhancing life, quality of life, opportunities. The next thing is making sure if you've got a dream to start a small business, make it easier for you to get into that small business. Right now, it costs about $40,000, the initial cost to get a small business off the ground. We give a $5,000 tax credit for that. Under Kamala Harris's plan, we will give $50,000 to get your dream off the ground and get there. Now, that is a plan, not a concept of a plan. It is a plan. And when we get asked, because Donald Trump's plan will blow the national debt through the roof, as he did. He calls himself the king of debt. And when we got asked about how will you pay for your plan, I said, well, we'll start by having Donald pay his taxes, and that'll be a good start, which he does not do. But don't think these guys are going down without a fight, and don't think that they don't truly have a plan, because they do. And they wrote it out. It's about 900 pages, and it's Project 2025. Now, yeah, you know what? I was with Barack Obama. He said, don't boo, vote. Don't boo, vote. So there you go. But you know what? Sometimes booing is what they need, and you can boo this. So. Look, now they're distancing themselves. Oh, I've never seen these people ever. You know, whenever any of this happens, I've never seen them. I don't know who they are. J.D. Vance literally wrote the foreword to the book of the architect of Project 2025. Yep. Now, I've been saying this. I have never wrote the foreword to someone's book, but I'm pretty sure I'd remember it if I did. I'm pretty sure about that. But look, as a football coach, if you take the time to draw up a playbook, you're going to run the plays. They plan on running the plays. And let me tell you, this playbook is a damn nightmare for the middle class. It attacks everything that we need. First and foremost, one of the most effective things we did, and I want to thank everyone who did this. President Biden signed it into law. The vice president was there to cast the votes on these. Finally, we had an infrastructure investment that rebuilds this country. Infrastructure. The Inflation Reduction Act that puts America back in charge of next generation manufacturing and energy production across the country, making sure we're creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs. These guys have said they will pull that money back and disinvest from our states. Now, Donald Trump, too, the guy is nearly 80 years old. At some point, and he says he went to the Wharton School. At some point in time, somebody should have taught him how tariffs work. Because he has made it clear that he doesn't think, he says China will pay these tariffs. And your answer is, oh, just like Mexico paid for the wall? Same thing. No. What happens when you slap a tariff on us, the CEOs of Black & Decker, Columbia, and other companies have told us, if you slap on this tariff, it will add 20% to the cost, which is about $4,000 for every middle-class family. That's what Donald Trump's talking about, everything you buy. Now, look, you've seen it out there. We've got independents and Republicans coming over to this campaign. People who are adhering to the old Republican Party's values that added to this country. Yes. That's not Donald Trump. No. When they talk about freedom, we know what we mean when we talk about freedom. When they talk about freedom, he means government should be free to be in your exam room, to be in your bedroom, to be, as Genevieve said, in her library telling us what we should read. That goes back to the golden rule some of you heard me talk about. Mind your own damn business and we will be better off. We will be better off. We don't need that. Donald did an interview a while back. It was like a 30-minute interview. And in that 30-minute interview, 11 times he volunteered and told the person why he wasn't weird. My observation in life is if you're explaining to people why you're not weird, you very well could be. Well, look, It's weird to be concerned with other people's bedrooms. It's weird to try and tell other people how their health care should be done. It's weird to try and make a case about they know what's best for you to read, watch, or whatever. When Kamala and I talk about freedom, we mean you should be free to make those decisions, not politicians. That's simple. Real freedom means after a lifetime of work, our seniors, our parents and our seniors should be able to retire with dignity by strengthening Social Security and Medicare, not cutting it. And I just want to say on this, the Vice President says things don't have to be the way they are. We don't have to be like this. And one of the things she was talking about is the freedom of our little ones to get dressed up in their best clothes and hustle off to their school to be met by dedicated teachers, to be kids and learn, and to have the freedom to not be shot dead in that classroom once they arrive. Now, as we're messaging this, as we're talking to our neighbors, I just want to be clear. I know guns. Many of you do. I'm a veteran. I'm a hunter. I'm a gun owner. Kamala is a gun owner. Both of us are protected and understand we can protect the Second Amendment while doing our first responsibility is with protecting our children's safety. We can do both. And to those undecided folks that was getting out there, this final 100 hours, people are still moving around. I don't think it's just the undecideds. I think you've seen this week, you've seen the worst of Donald Trump come out, and he continues to do it. And I want to just say about this, I want to talk to the guys in this room. Think about the women in your lives who you love. Think about the people in your lives you love, women. Literally, this election, their lives are at stake on how this comes out. Donald Trump's the guy who appointed those Supreme Court justices, all three of them, who stood in front of their confirmation hearings under oath and said, oh no, Roe is settled, we won't do anything about it, and then proceeded to overturn it. Donald celebrates that and says that was on him. He is saying he is happy that those women you're thinking about in your mind right now have fewer rights than their mothers or their grandmothers had. And as Kamala said in those hearings, she asked those judges, can you name a law that has the government over men's bodies and things that they can do? Can you name what that law is? And it was nothing. So let's be very clear about it. Because of Trump, 20 states have Trump abortion bans. He said it's a beautiful thing. The other night he said this. He said, if you're a woman, he'll be your protector. And then he added this in the last day or so. I'm going to do that whether the women like it or not. Well, I believe that's how he's lived his life, and I believe he'll continue to do it, because here's what we see now. Women turned away from emergency rooms, miscarriaging in parking lots, whether they like it or not. Survivors of rape being forced to carry those pregnancies to term, whether they like it or not. And fertility clinics have turned couples away at the door, whether they like it or not. All of this is personal for all of us in here. For my wife and I, it was about infertility and being able to get infertility treatments. And I will be damned if I will allow anyone, especially Donald Trump, to deny that right to anybody in this country. Anybody. And when we pass, we take back the House, hold the Senate, and we pass a reproductive freedom bill, President Harris will sign it into law. Now look, it's as simple as this. For Kamala and I, we simply trust women. It's that simple. Now look, I also have a feeling over these next 100 hours, women all across America, every age, either party, are going to send a loud and clear message to Donald Trump on November 5th, whether he likes it or not. So Kamala said it. We're sure the hell not going back, people. We are not going back. I'm here tonight with you in Michigan on behalf of the Vice President and myself to humbly ask you for your vote come November 5th. Now, 4 days. 4 days. This thing is going to be close, but here's the deal. We've got momentum on our side. We know how to work, and we're not taking anything for granted. Nothing. So I spent most of my life just living for these moments. The moments when the stuff is on the line, when you're the final 2 minutes of a game. We got the ball. We got the ball. We got the ball, and we got the best quarterback in Kamala Harris. We got the best team, which is all of you. We don't get tired, and if we do, we'll wait till we're dead to do the sleeping, because not now. Because 1 or 2 votes in the state of Michigan in each precinct could be the difference between President Harris or the nightmare we saw on the other side. That's what's there. And I guarantee you, and especially the young ones here, this will happen to you. There'll be a point where you're going to be older, and you're going to be in that rocking chair on the porch, and you're going to be rocking, and a little one's going to come up to you, and they're going to be studying in school, and they're going to say, where were you and what would you do in 2024 to protect the democracy and keep the American experiment alive? And every one of you are going to say, every damn thing I could do. Every damn thing I could do. How many have voted already? All right. How many of you can get another person to vote? There we go. Look, we can do it. If you've still got a mail-in ballot, don't put it off, people. Put it in the mailbox. Take it down to the clerk. Make a plan to vote early or be ready for November 5th. It's iwillvote.com/MI to find your polling place. Look, we came here. It's our responsibility, and it is an awesome responsibility, but an incredible privilege. Generations of Americans before have stood in the face of this kind of crap, and here we are. And here we are. And I want to be on that damn porch when we talk about, were you the ones that made sure Donald Trump went away and we didn't have to hear him anymore? Yes, us. All the good things we're going to do, that's the bonus. This guy's going away. That's the bonus. So look, Vice President Harris has told us this. When we fight, now we're in the mode. When we vote, Michigan, win this for America. Let's go. Let's go.